Now, you've had an interesting history in your life. You've had some loss. There's obviously, just like all of us, we've all dealt with things that are not the best. But from doing research on you, not just listening to your music, but also reading about you and hearing other interviews that you've done, it is pretty apparent to me that music is kind of your therapy place. It's kind of where you go um, for your therapeutic ride. Some people use yoga, some people meditate, some people pray. For you, it's legitimately music, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely is, man. And I know people that can't strum an instrument, pick up an instrument, period. And it's still it's the same thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just go sit in a car or go drive around or sit in front of some stereo speakers and just listen to some music. It is absolutely a therapeutic process. It's just a different way to get things out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as a guy, I'm real open and I share a lot. But if I put it into a song, uh, that's really sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, that's your
you know,
vulnerable side. So you don't. I mean, I think the best songs out there, right, are the ones where the artist or the songwriter, it's not always the artist, but the songwriter is essentially putting their heart on the line. And I mean, really, when you put something like that out there, you're showing your vulnerability to a large audience, man. That's a huge, huge thing. And if you're the writer and the artist, now you have to perform that vulnerability over and over and over. And you in a way, you can't become. Um, Immune to it, right? Because you have to have that feeling within your live performances for people to get the same feeling from it. So you're just repeating that vulnerability over and over again. I don't think people really understand what that's like. Try to explain that to folks out there.
I mess up. I can tell you that much. I do. Man, there's moments that hit me when I least expect them.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
in front of crowds that it's happened in front of 4,000 people. It's happened in front of 40 people. Um, with a band, without a band.
Yep.
Man, I'll get into the song, and then within being in the song while I'm playing it, in my own head and thinking about different things. For instance, missing you lately.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I lost my older sister, and I don't know how many times. It's only been a handful, but the amount of times that I'll get to a certain line in that song, and I just my
Mm-hmm.
brain just
Yep.
stops. And man, anybody that's lost anybody can probably relate to some sort of that feeling at one point or another.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of that within the song. But for me, it's a whole lot less of picking up my phone and trying to call her these days. It's a whole lot more of when I play that song, I hit a certain point in it, and I'm like, okay, just get to the next line. You got to get to the next line.
Yep.
You can't stop singing. The band's still playing. Uh,
And
but
those are the
those.
songs that your fans always want to hear too, always, because they relate to them the most, right? We all
Yeah.
relate to that loss and that anguish, right? So, like,
Hmm.
you put that song out there, they're going to request it. That's the one they relate to. They get it.
Man, it's just putting yourself out there
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over. It's the only way to describe it. You're throwing it out there for people, strangers, for people that have experienced it, that haven't experienced it. Um, doesn't matter.
Yep.
You're putting it out there for everybody.
Yeah, I recently interviewed a Grammy winner about this, and I mean, we're talking about somebody who has a lot of number one hits here, okay? And he told me that his best songs will never see the light of day through his voice because of that very reason. He can't relive that trauma over and over again in his life. So here we have one of the best songwriters known to man, who his self-described best songs will never see the light of day because of that same anguish over and over again. So
Yeah.
what does it take for you as an artist to actually choose to let those songs out there and share them with the world?
It doesn't really take much for me, because at the end of the day, it's all because of the song.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't be getting together unless it was for the songs.
And
It
is it
all
kind of a tribute as well to you? Like,
it is
you know, you're tributing your sister, right?
absolutely, and I definitely I can definitely understand whoever said that. The best songs will never see the light of day through him,
Now he'll
because
plug
I
them to other artists. He'll give them
yeah,
away to others. You know?
absolutely.
Yeah,
But no, I wrote Over You with one of my best friends, and he wrote it from one perspective, and I wrote it from a different perspective, and we didn't really come to that understanding until after the song was written.
that's
And
great.
he said, "You take this song because I don't want to sing this every night, even though this would probably be amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and it would probably do some great things, and I could probably get it, you know, to get to sing it in front of thousands and thousands of people. I can't, I can't relive this every night and go through it." And so, you know, my perspective from the writing uh, was more. It wasn't about love lost, um, and his was, and it was, it was one of those things he just didn't want to go through. Um, and some people are like that, and in my eyes, there are songs that my family hasn't even heard because I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hurt them. Um, but at the same time, they're not my songs. I just held on to the pen and let
Mm-hmm.
God push them through. And at the end of the day, if I don't share what I've been given, it's going to dry up eventually.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't put those out, and in the same sense, if you don't snag those ideas that are coming to you or get them down, this is in Rick Rubin's book, and I totally believed. I believed this before Rick Rubin said it. If you don't go write that down, it's out there, man. Someone else is going to catch that and run with
Yep.
it, and it's a real thing. And the more that I'm up writing with my friends in Nashville and so on and so forth, it happened to me the other night, last week actually. A guy dropped me off, and he's like, "Hey man, check this out," and I had the same idea, the same everything about it, almost except for the lines of the song. And I said, "I have this in my phone. Did you get this from me? Did you take this idea out of my?" He was like, "No, man, I didn't do that. I promise. I promise. This is my idea. I brought it up." And I was just like, "They're out. They're not anybody's." Um,
It's so funny because songwriting, man, it's just one of the few things on the planet that's so selfless and selfish. It can be
yeah,
both at the same time. It's so hard to understand that as a human being who's always trying to be humble. We're always trying to be humble. But as a songwriter, it's imperative to be selfish sometimes. You have to hold on to your own sometimes. You know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean that's it happens every day up there. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm only up in Nashville once a month, and I go up and I write and I take meetings and I do the thing, and then I come back. But they tell you, don't hold your best ideas for one particular person. You never know what you're going to get, and that's an absolute fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I try to remember. And you always want to put your best foot forward in those situations. But I know it's happening to me too.
Absolutely. Yep.
I know that they're saying, no, no, I don't, no, I don't really have anything right now. I'm saving that for Joe, and I'm writing with him tomorrow. So you're not
Yep.
getting that idea.
Man, Jerry
So it,
Phillips, I hate to name drop, but Jerry Phillips, the son of Sam Phillips, the guy that literally discovered Elvis Presley, right? Jerry told me that when he's writing, he's not writing it for himself, he's writing it for the universe. And so his debut
man,
record, he called it For the Universe. And I was just blown away by that mantra of and it just makes so much sense. Um,
for the universe.
yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
I'm sorry, you just kind of like punched me in the chest with that one. That's gold.
Yeah, it's just so cool what I get to do, man. Honestly, like you hear all these little snippets of stories from people that have been there and seen this and done that, and it's so cool, man. But yeah,
It is, and
I hear you saying things, and it just brings to mind things that other people have said to me as well.